Have you ever felt completely invisible in your own home? You speak, but no one listens. You try to guide, but your words seem to vanish into thin air. Your children ignore you, talk back, or show no signs of respect. And deep inside, you're asking yourself, how did we get here? And how do I fix this? Without yelling, without losing control. If you're nodding right now, you're not alone. Every parent at some point feels overwhelmed, hurt, or disrespected by their children's behavior. And while the first instinct may be to react, shout, punish, demand, what if there was a better way? In this video, we're going to explore a different path, a path that is both powerful and peaceful, a six-step method that doesn't rely on control or conflict, but instead helps you restore respect, rebuild connection, and regain calm authority without the drama. These aren't magic tricks. They are grounded, practical tools. You can start using them today, and you'll begin to see shifts in the way your children respond to you. But before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed to the Mental Dose channel and check out our Telegram group for more powerful insights on personal and spiritual growth. Now let's begin. Here are 6 steps to transform disrespect into deeper connection. Step 1, control your reactions. It all starts here with you. When your child rolls their eyes, ignores your words, or pushes your buttons, your first instinct might be to snap. But reacting in anger almost always leads to escalation. It fuels the fire rather than extinguishing it. Instead, pause. Take a slow, deep breath. Give yourself a few seconds to respond with clarity rather than emotion. Staying calm doesn't mean you're suppressing how you feel. It means you're choosing to lead with strength. And that strength isn't loud, it's steady. When you show your child that their behavior doesn't shake your emotional foundation, you begin to model emotional maturity. You also send a powerful message. I don't need to yell to be heard. I lead with calm confidence. And guess what children do notice? They begin to feel your stability, and over time they mirror it back. Anger, when unchecked, leads to regret, words we wish we didn't say, tones we didn't mean to use. But composure opens the door to communication. It keeps the relationship intact. It creates space for mutual respect. So next time you feel the rise of frustration, pause. Take a breath, center yourself, because your calm is your power. Step 2, understand without giving in. Once you've calmed your reaction, it's time to dig deeper. Ask yourself, what's really going on here? Often disrespect is a symptom, not the root cause. Children act out when they feel unheard, stressed, insecure, or overwhelmed. Understanding doesn't mean accepting bad behavior. It means being curious before being critical. It means saying, I see something's bothering you. Can we talk about it? When you approach your child with empathy without instantly correcting or criticizing, something powerful happens. They lower their defenses. They feel seen. And in that space, real dialogue begins. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means trying to understand where it's coming from so you can address the problem at its root, not just its surface. Children who feel heard are far more likely to listen. And a parent who listens with empathy builds a bridge that discipline alone can never reach. Step 3, set clear boundaries. Kindness without structure is confusion, and structure without warmth is fear. That's why the next step is to clearly, calmly define your boundaries. After listening and understanding, you must still set expectations. Explain what's okay and what isn't in your household. But do it with composure, not threats. Say, in this family, we speak with respect even when we're upset. Let them know there are consequences for crossing those lines, but not as punishment, as reality. When boundaries are set with clarity and consistency, they don't feel like control. They feel like safety. They give your child a roadmap, a structure to grow within. And just like any effective structure, it shouldn't be rigid. You don't need to bark rules or dominate your child. You just need to be firm, fair, and follow through. Boundaries teach accountability. They remind children that choices have consequences, something they'll carry with them into every future relationship, both personal and professional. Step 4, be the example you want to see. Your words matter, but your actions, they're everything. Children observe far more than they listen. They watch how you handle stress, conflict, disappointment. So ask yourself honestly, am I modeling the behavior I want from my child? If you demand respect, are you speaking respectfully? Especially when tensions rise. If you expect them to listen, Do you stop and really hear them when they speak? Being a good example doesn't mean being perfect. It means being consistent, honest, accountable. When your child sees that you live by the values you teach, they'll start to internalize them. Your integrity builds trust, and trust builds influence. You don't have to say much when your actions already say it all. Step 5, connect outside of conflict. One of the most common parenting traps is only engaging with your child when something's wrong. Correction becomes the core of communication. And over time, your relationship feels like a battlefield. That's why this next step is crucial. Create moments of connection that have nothing to do with discipline. Find time, real time, to be with your child, without a phone, without multitasking, without judgment. Whether it's cooking together, going for a walk, watching a movie, or just sitting and talking, in these moments matter. They rebuild the bond, they create warmth, and they remind your child that your love isn't conditional on their behavior. The stronger your emotional connection outside of conflict, the more willing your child will be to respect you in moments of tension. Respect is built in peaceful moments, not just in hard ones. Coming up next in part 2, we'll cover the final step, perhaps the most transformative of all, plus explore what to do when change doesn't happen overnight. Because true growth is a journey, not an instant fix. And remember what you're doing now. Learning, reflecting, showing up with intention is already shifting everything, deepening the bond from conflict to connection. In the previous part, we explored the importance of modeling respectful behavior, setting clear boundaries, and reconnecting with your children outside of conflict. These practices begin to shift the energy in your home from tension and frustration to understanding and trust. Now let's continue with the final steps of this 6-step method, focusing on how to encourage growth of reflection and deeper communication. Step 6, give them space to reflect. Once you've handled a situation with calm, established healthy boundaries, and expressed your expectations clearly, it's time to step back. This step might feel counterintuitive, especially when emotions are still lingering. But allowing your child space to reflect is often more powerful than pushing for immediate resolution. Avoid insisting on a quick apology or demanding an instant change in behavior. Instead, trust in the power of silence and space. These quiet moments are where personal growth often begins. When children are given the freedom to sit with their thoughts, they gain the chance to process your words. Consider their actions and begin forming their own internal compass. You're giving them the gift of responsibility of owning their behavior, rather than simply reacting to your authority. Trying to force them to see your point of view can lead to resistance. But allowing them time to internalize your guidance leads to self-awareness, a trait far more sustainable than compliance. Think of this time as part of their emotional development. The lessons you're teaching may not show immediate results, but like seeds planted in rich soil, they take root quietly. With time and patience, they will grow. Final advice: strengthen the bond, one choice at a time. Now that we've completed the 6 foundational steps, here are a few final recommendations to support and enhance your journey, small shifts that make a lasting difference. 1. Let go of the small battles. Not every issue deserves your full attention. As a parent, it's tempting to correct every misstep, every tone of voice, every small sign of disrespect. But the truth is, not all conflicts need to become confrontations. Ask yourself, is this moment worth the fight? Sometimes the best response is no response. Letting certain behaviors pass without a reaction can signal to your child that you trust them to self-correct. This creates space for natural growth and avoids unnecessary tension. You're not ignoring the issue, you're choosing to respond with discernment. 2. Involve them in decisions. Respect grows when people feel heard, and children are no different. Invite your children to participate in family decisions, even small ones. Ask their opinions. Give them choices when appropriate. This simple act shifts the dynamic from parent versus child to parent with child. It helps them feel seen and valued. And when they feel like their voice matters, they're more likely to understand why your voice matters too. This shared sense of contribution also nurtures responsibility and maturity, 2 essential ingredients for respectful behavior. 3. Recognize progress, not just problems. It's easy to notice what's going wrong, but how often do you pause to recognize what's going right? Many parents focus heavily on correcting negative behavior, but forget to acknowledge the positive steps their children are making. Even a small shift like a calmer tone, a better choice, a respectful word deserves recognition. Saying something as simple as, "I appreciated how you handled that," can go a long way in reinforcing the behavior you want to see more of. Encouragement is not flattery, it's fuel. And in a world that often criticizes more than it praises, your words of affirmation become a powerful force for shaping character. 4. Admit when you're wrong. This one takes courage, but it's one of the most effective ways to model humility and strength. If you overreacted, spoke harshly, or made a mistake in handling a situation, say so. Apologizing doesn't undermine your authority. It builds credibility. It shows your children that growth is a lifelong journey and that even adults are still learning. It also teaches them that making mistakes isn't the problem. Refusing to take responsibility is. When they see you owning your errors, they'll be more likely to take responsibility for theirs. 5. Keep the long-term vision in mind. Family transformation doesn't happen in a day. It happens in 100 small moments of consistency, patience, and reflection. You may not see immediate results. There will be setbacks, missteps, days where it feels like nothing is changing. But every time you stay calm instead of yelling, every moment you listen instead of react, every boundary you reinforce with kindness, you're making progress. Think long-term. You're not just managing behavior, you're shaping character. And as those character traits grow, respect, responsibility, empathy, you'll begin to notice changes that last. Final thoughts from reaction to transformation. Now you have the complete 6-step strategy for managing disrespect and emotional distance from your children. Keep your emotions in check. Understand the behavior without surrendering your values. Set clear and consistent boundaries. Be the example you want to see. Create positive connection outside of conflict. And finally, give them space to reflect. These steps are not about control. They're about influence. They're about creating an environment where your children learn not because they fear you, but because they trust you. By staying grounded, listening with empathy, and leading with intention, you can build a relationship rooted in mutual respect and lasting connection. If this message resonated with you, we encourage you to share it with other parents or caregivers who may be facing similar challenges. Subscribe to the Cyphoria channel and our Telegram group for more content on parenting, emotional intelligence, and spiritual growth. And remember, every peaceful response, every moment of patience, every step you take matters. You're not just raising children, you're raising future adults. And that begins with you. See you in the next video.